Hey fellow numismatists, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most intriguing modern rarities in American coinage, the 2001 New York State Quarter. Now, I know what you're thinking, a state quarter? Really? But trust me, this isn't just any state quarter, and by the end of this video, you might be rushing to check your change jars. The 2001 New York Quarter has become something of a legend among modern coin collectors, with certain varieties commanding prices that would shock the average person. What makes this seemingly ordinary coin so special? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today. Let's start with a bit of historical context. The State Quarters program launched by the U.S. Mint in 1999 was one of the most ambitious coin initiatives in American history. 5 new designs were released each year for 10 years, with each state's unique design minted for just 10 weeks before moving to the next. New York's Quarter, released in January 2001, was the 11th state in the series. Take a look at this example. The New York Quarter features the iconic Statue of Liberty superimposed over an outline of the state, with the phrase, "Gateway to Freedom," elegantly incorporated into the design. The coin beautifully captures New York's historical significance as an entry point for millions of immigrants. When this design was first unveiled, it resonated deeply with Americans whose ancestors had passed through Ellis Island to begin their American dream. But here's where things get interesting. During production at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, several fascinating errors and varieties occurred that have sent values of certain New York quarters soaring. The most notable among these is the incredibly rare doubled die obverse variety. If we zoom in here on Washington's face, pay close attention to the doubling around the word Liberty and the date. See that slight shadow effect? That's the doubled die, and it's not just a minor curiosity, it's a significant error that occurs during the manufacturing process when the die receives multiple impressions at slightly different angles. What makes the New York doubled die particularly valuable is its prominence and scarcity. Now let's talk market value. While regular 2001 New York quarters are worth face value in circulation, the doubled die variety I just showed you? In mint state condition, it can fetch anywhere from $200 to over $2,000 depending on the grade and strength of the doubling. I recently witnessed one graded MS-67 sell at auction for $3,850, that's quite a return on a 25-cent investment. But the market isn't static. Over the past decade, we've seen consistent appreciation in value for these error coins. Back in 2010, a top-grade double die might have sold for around $800, meaning collectors who invested then have seen nearly a 400% return on their investment. And the trajectory continues upward as more collectors recognize the significance of these modern rarities. Let me share something fascinating about this coin that many people don't know. During the production of the New York Quarter, the mint was under tremendous pressure to maintain their schedule. They were producing around 373 million New York quarters between Philadelphia and Denver, and quality control wasn't perfect. This led to not just the double dies, but also several other varieties. One of my favorites is what collectors call the extra tree variety. If we look carefully at this example, you'll notice what appears to be an extra tree line in the lower right portion of the state outline. This isn't supposed to be there, it's actually a die crack that developed during the minting process. Yet it's become highly collectible in its own right, with specimens commanding $50 to $100 in higher grades. There's also a persistent myth about the 2001 New York Quarter containing a special "Freedom" inscription visible only under certain lighting conditions. I've tested this personally, and I can tell you definitively it's just that, a myth. However, these kinds of stories speak to the enduring mystique these coins hold in collector circles. Now, let's break down how condition affects value, because this is crucial for the 2001 New York Quarter. In circulated condition, even the error varieties might only be worth a few dollars. But the value scale increases exponentially with grade. For the double die variety, in XF, extremely fine, condition, $75 to $150. In AU, about uncirculated $150 to $300. In MS63, $300 to $500. In MS65, $800 to $1,200. In MS67 or above, $2,000-$4,000 plus. The condition is particularly important because the double die effect can be subtle. In worn coins, it's often barely visible, which substantially reduces value. This is why proper storage from the moment you identify one is absolutely essential. Speaking of identification, here are some authentication tips specifically for the 2001 New York double die. First, you'll need at least a 10x loupe or magnifying glass. Focus on the word Liberty. Authentic double dies show clear separation in the letters, not just thickening. The date, 2001, also shows significant doubling on authentic specimens. Be cautious of coins showing doubling everywhere. That's often machine doubling, which is much more common and less valuable. For storage, I recommend non-PVC flips or PCGS/NGC holders for valuable specimens. Never clean these coins, even if they look dirty. A cleaned coin can lose 50 to 80% of its potential value, no matter how rare the variety. Now, I want to help you avoid some common confusions. The 2001 New York double die is frequently confused with the more common machine doubling. Here's the difference: true double dies show separation between the doubled elements, while machine doubling typically appears as a smeared, shelf-like extension of the design elements. I'm showing both types now. Notice how the true double die has a crisp, defined secondary image, while the machine doubling looks more like a smudge. There's also the extra leaf Wisconsin quarter that gets confused with New York errors. That's an entirely different coin from 2004, though equally fascinating in its own right. You know, what I find most remarkable about the 2001 New York quarter is how it represents the perfect intersection of history, artistry, and human error. These coins pass through countless hands, from mint employees to bank tellers to everyday Americans making purchases, before someone with a keen eye recognized their special nature. I often wonder about the stories these coins could tell. How many double dies circulated for years before being recognized? How many are still out there, waiting to be discovered in a forgotten piggy bank or coin jar? There's something romantic about that possibility, that everyday objects in our pockets might be treasures in disguise. Before we wrap up, I'd like to encourage you to take a closer look at your own coin collections and change jars. The 2001 New York quarter is just one example of valuable modern coins hiding in plain sight. The hobby of numismatics isn't just about collecting, it's about discovery, history, and connecting with the stories behind the money that passes through our hands every day. Thanks for joining me on this numismatic journey today. If you found this valuable or discovered something new, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more deep dives into the fascinating world of rare coins. Until next time, happy hunting. Today we're diving into what might be the most overlooked modern rarity sitting in your collection, or possibly even in your pocket change. The 1999 New Jersey State Quarter. Now, I know what you're thinking: state quarters? Really? But trust me, there's much more to this story than meets the eye. Before we get into the details, take a moment to examine this specimen I have here. Notice the distinctive cross and shield design representing Washington's famous crossing of the Delaware River. This isn't just any state quarter, this is the coin that changed modern American numismatics forever. The New Jersey quarter was the third release in the 50 state quarters program, which began in 1999 and ran through 2008. What many casual collectors don't realize is that this program represented the largest coin redesign initiative in American history. And New Jersey's quarter, released on May 17, 1999, holds a special place in this monumental series. Let's look at the obverse. Like all state quarters, it features the familiar Washington portrait designed by John Flanagan, based on Jean-Antoine Houdon's 1786 bust. But turn it over, and that's where the magic happens. The reverse showcases that beautiful design commemorating Washington crossing the Delaware River during the American Revolution, an event that occurred on Christmas night in 1776 when Washington led his troops across the ice-choked river to launch a surprise attack on Hessian forces in Trenton. The victory that followed revitalized the Continental Army and changed the course of the Revolutionary War. Look closely at this example. The details in the colonial boat and the three figures representing Washington and his men are remarkably intricate for a circulation coin. The inscription, "Crossroads of the Revolution," beneath the design isn't just a catchy phrase. New Jersey truly was central to the American fight for independence, with more Revolutionary War battles fought on New Jersey soil than in any other colony. Now, what makes certain 1999 New Jersey quarters particularly valuable? This is where things get interesting for serious collectors. While over 600 million New Jersey quarters were minted, there are several key varieties that command significant premiums. The most famous era variety is the spitting horse. If you look at Washington on horseback, some coins show what appears to be a die crack or raised metal extending from the horse's mouth, giving the appearance that the horse is spitting. These can fetch anywhere from $50 to several $100s depending on condition. Let me show you this example under magnification. See that raised line of metal? That's what you're looking for. There's also the elusive, clashed die variety where elements of the obverse design were transferred to the reverse during minting, creating ghost images. These are considerably rarer and can command $200 to $300 even in circulated condition. In 2022, a PCGS-MS 67 Plus New Jersey quarter with exceptional strike and eye appeal sold for an astounding $4,700 at a heritage auction. That's nearly 19,000 times its face value. While that's certainly at the extreme end of the spectrum, even common New Jersey quarters in MS 65 or better condition regularly sell for $20 to $30. What's particularly fascinating about the state quarters program is how it revolutionized coin collecting in America. Before this series, the hobby was experiencing a downturn in popularity. The Mint estimated that the state quarters program created over 140 million new collectors nationwide, many of whom started with quarters like this New Jersey issue. Now, let me show you something truly special from my personal collection. A fully struck off-center New Jersey quarter where the strike is about 50% off-center. Error coins like this can command $100 to $200 or more depending on the severity and visual appeal of the error. Here's an interesting bit of history many don't know. The New Jersey quarter design was actually chosen through a public selection process. The New Jersey Commemorative Quarter Design Commission reviewed over 1,500 design concepts submitted by residents before selecting the "Crossroads of the Revolution" theme. The Philadelphia Mint produced 373,400,000 New Jersey quarters, while the Denver Mint struck 299,028,000. The P and D mint marks can be found on the obverse, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Denver minted coins tend to command a slight premium over Philadelphia issues in equal grades. Let's talk about condition. As with all coins, grade is paramount in determining value. Take a look at this uncirculated specimen. Notice the complete absence of wear on the high points of Washington's hair and the boat on the reverse. The mint luster remains intact, giving the coin that distinctive cartwheel effect when rotated under light. For comparison, here's a circulated example grading around VF 30. See how the high points are worn smooth, and the fields have lost their luster? This coin might be worth face value or slightly more to a collector trying to complete a state quarter set. Interesting fact, New Jersey's state quarter design was one of the few in the series to feature human figures rather than just landmarks or symbols. Only 5 state quarter designs depict people, making New Jersey's design somewhat unusual within the program. For collectors, proper storage is crucial. I recommend using inert, PVC-free holders or albums specifically designed for quarters. Avoid handling these coins with bare hands. The oils and acids from your skin can damage the surfaces over time. When examining potential purchases, use cotton gloves and hold coins by their edges. Authentication can be tricky with modern issues, but there are still counterfeits out there, particularly of the era varieties. The weight should be exactly 5.67 grams, and the reading on the edge should be consistent and well-defined. When in doubt about a high-value specimen, professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are worth the investment. One common point of confusion I see frequently is collectors mixing up the standard circulation New Jersey quarters with the silver-proof versions. The silver proofs were struck in 90% silver at the San Francisco Mint and bear the S Mint mark. These silver versions have inherent precious metal value beyond any numismatic premium and generally sell for $15 to $20 even without special varieties or errors. As we wrap up today's exploration, I want to leave you with something to ponder. The New Jersey quarter, like many modern coins, represents a fascinating intersection of history, art, and economics. When Washington crossed the Delaware that fateful night in 1776, he couldn't have imagined his actions would one day be commemorated on a coin that millions of Americans would carry in their pockets every day. These quarters aren't just pieces of metal, they're tangible connections to our shared history, miniature works of art that tell America's story through the places and events that shaped our nation. So the next time you receive change from your coffee or grocery run, take a moment to look at those quarters. You might just be holding a small treasure, both historically and monetarily. Thank you for joining me today on this journey through one of modern numismatics' most intriguing issues. Until next time, keep searching that change, and happy collecting. Hello, fellow collectors. Today we're diving into what might be hiding in plain sight, possibly even in your spare change jar. The 2005 Minnesota State Quarter, specifically the famous extra tree variety that has quietly become one of the most sought-after modern-era coins in American numismatics. What looks like an ordinary quarter to the untrained eye could be worth thousands sitting in your collection right now. Before we examine the specifics of this fascinating error, let's take a moment to appreciate the beauty of the standard Minnesota quarter design. As you can see here, the regular design features the state outline filled with lakes, a boat with fishermen, and the state motto, Land of 10,000 Lakes. The standard coin shows exactly 5 trees along the shoreline. Remember that number, it's crucial to identifying the valuable variety. The Minnesota quarter was the 32nd release in the hugely popular 50-state quarters program that ran from 1999 to 2008. Released on April 4, 2005, these quarters were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But something extraordinary happened during production at the Denver Mint that created one of the most recognizable die errors in modern coinage. Now, let's look closely at what makes this coin special. The valuable variety shows what appears to be an extra tree, or as some describe it, a floating tree, near the rightmost part of the design. See how on this specimen, there are actually 6 trees instead of 5? This wasn't part of the original design. This error occurred due to what numismatists call a double die, where part of the die used to strike the coins was unintentionally doubled during the manufacturing process. What's particularly fascinating about this error is that it appears with varying degrees of prominence. Some specimens show a very distinct extra tree, while others display just a faint doubling. The stronger the doubling, the more valuable the coin generally becomes. Here, you can see 3 different examples showing mild, moderate, and strong doubling of this extra tree feature. Unlike many rare coins that achieve their status through low mintage numbers, the Minnesota extra tree quarters rarity comes from being an unplanned variant. While the Denver Mint produced over 233 million Minnesota quarters in 2005, only a small fraction exhibit this error. Estimates suggest somewhere between 25,000 to 50,000 exist, making them rare enough to be valuable but common enough that new discoveries are still happening. Now, let's talk about the market value, which has seen remarkable growth over the past decade. In uncirculated condition, a Minnesota extra tree quarter in MS 63 grade can command $75 to $100, while premium specimens in MS 65 or higher have sold for $300 to $500. The finest examples, graded MS 67 or above, have fetched over $1,000 at major auctions. Just last year, a particularly sharp MS 68 example sold for $2,350 at a heritage auction. What's particularly exciting for collectors is the steep price curve based on condition. A circulated extra tree quarter might bring $20 to $30, while one in mint state could be worth 10 times that amount. This makes proper preservation absolutely critical. Interestingly, this era coin has shown stronger price appreciation than many traditional rarities. When first discovered around 2005 to 2006, these were selling for just $10 to $20. By 2015, nice examples were bringing $100 plus, and as awareness has grown among mainstream collectors, prices have continued to climb. This trajectory suggests continued growth potential, especially as the coins age and fewer pristine examples remain available. There's a fascinating story behind the discovery of this error. Initially, the US Mint was completely unaware of the double die. It wasn't until ordinary collectors began noticing the anomaly and sharing their findings on early coin forums that the variety gained recognition. This grassroots discovery represents what many of us love about the hobby, the thrill of finding something special that even the authorities missed. Some collectors have spun tales about the extra tree representing Minnesota's logging history or being a deliberate inside joke among mint employees. While these stories add charm to the collecting experience, the reality is that this was simply an unintentional manufacturing error, albeit a fortuitous one for those lucky enough to find these quarters. When examining your own coins, authentication is crucial. The most common confusion comes from post-mint damage that can sometimes resemble an extra tree. Look carefully at the area to the right of the fourth tree on the standard design. On genuine error coins, the extra tree has the same raised relief and texture as the other design elements. Under magnification, you'll see it's integral to the design, not a scratch or added material. Storage considerations are particularly important for these quarters. As modern clad coins, they're susceptible to environmental damage that wouldn't affect silver or gold. Store your specimens in individual coin flips or in certified slabs if they're high grade. Avoid PVC-containing holders which can damage the coin's surface over time. And resist the temptation to clean your coin, this will significantly reduce its value. Now, here's something critical for serious collectors. There are actually different die pairs that produce this error, resulting in subtle varieties within the extra tree category. The strongest examples show what appears to be almost a complete additional tree, while others show just partial doubling. Some specialists have begun categorizing these as type 1, 2, and 3 errors based on the strength and position of the doubling. Let's compare this error to others you might encounter. The 2004 D Wisconsin Extra Leaf Quarter shows similar doubling characteristics and commands comparable prices. Both represent significant die errors from the state quarters program. However, don't confuse these with the Kansas In God We Rust quarter, which was caused by grease-filled dies rather than doubling, or with post-mint damage on regular quarters that might appear similar at first glance. For those building a comprehensive state quarter collection, this Minnesota error represents one of the few true keys to the series. While most state quarters are worth only face value even in uncirculated condition, the Minnesota Extra Tree stands alongside the Wisconsin Extra Leaf varieties as must-have pieces for serious collectors. If you're wondering about the long-term investment potential, consider that modern era coins with distinctive, easily identifiable characteristics like this one have historically performed well. The visibility of the error, its connection to the popular state quarters program, and its relative scarcity all contribute to sustained collector interest. What I find most compelling about the Minnesota Extra Tree Quarter is how it embodies the democratic nature of coin collecting. This isn't some ancient gold piece accessible only to wealthy collectors. It's a modern coin that could literally be in anyone's pocket change or coin jar right now. It represents the everyday miracle of numismatics, that extraordinary value can be hiding in ordinary places. So, as you leave this video today, I encourage you to check your change, dig through those old coin albums, and maybe ask your less coin-savvy friends if you can look through their quarter collections. The thrill of discovering your own Minnesota Extra Tree quarter is what keeps many of us passionate about this hobby. This coin reminds us that in numismatics, history, art, and value converge in the most unexpected places, even in a quarter minted less than 2 decades ago. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your collections grow in both value and the stories they tell.